The stock market finished with a boom today. Nice to see all that green reacting to President Trump pausing most of his tariffs on the world for 90 days after injecting mass chaos and fear in the markets. That pause does not include the tariffs he's imposing on China. Trump hiked that tariff rate to 125%. So what made Trump blink or cave or change his mind, whatever verb you prefer? He said his decision, quote, came together early this morning and, quote, was written from the heart, whatever that means.
Is Jake Tapper dumb? Why would Trump publicly state to the media and to the rest of the world what exactly he's gonna do? You think he wasn't thinking through this thing way beforehand? No, just this morning. Oh, all of a sudden we decided to change it. They're so dumb, or they know what's going on and they just want to lie to people.
And Richard, Goldman Sachs says Trump's trade retreat has not changed their own recession forecast, even though the stock market went up today. Its best day in 16 years. Still not back to where the stocks were when Trump announced so-called Liberation Day. Are the gains today, is it like pushing an old lady down the stairs and then wanting credit for helping her back up at the bottom there? How do you see it?
You see how angled Jake Tapper is in every question he poses, and he tries to claim he's not on the left. Before we hear these ridiculous answers, let's see exactly what Trump said about why people should have played it cool, they should have relaxed, and just waited for him to play the game he needs to play with negotiations.
Roger or any of these champions, any questions while we're here?
President, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You started the morning saying be cool, and then just a few hours later, there was a pause put in on the tariffs. Can you walk us through your thinking about why you decided to put a 90-day pause?
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid, unlike these champions, because we have a big job to do. No other president would have done what I did. No other president. I know the presidents, they wouldn't have done it. And it had to be done. What was happening to us on trade, not only with, you know, if you look at it, not only with China, but China was by far the biggest abuser in history, and others also, but somebody had to do it. They had to stop because it was not sustainable. Last year, China made $1 trillion off trade with the United States. That's not right. And now I've reversed it. It's for a short period of time, but we made $2 billion. We're making now $2 billion a day. And somebody had to do it. Roger actually said it. Charles Schwab was here a little while ago, one of the great financial people, and he said he's been waiting for 40 years for somebody to do what I did over the last month. And if you didn't do it, you wouldn't have a country. It wouldn't be sustainable. So I'm honored to have done it. And, you know, look, nothing's over yet, but we have a tremendous amount of spirit from other countries, including China. China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it. You know, it's one of those things they don't know how quite. They're proud people. And President Xi's a proud man. I know him very well. And they don't know quite how to go about it, but they'll figure it out. They're in the process of figuring it out, but they want to make a deal. And
you hear his tone in what he's explaining, right? It's not this threatening, this hard-nosed wording in the public. And yet, if he does the soft wording like this, where he's nice, and he sugarcoats some things, and he doesn't explain his whole plan, and he doesn't say, well, I'm going to do a tariff, then I'm going to do a tariff pause, then you have people like Jake Tapper and CNN trying to point that out and trying to take Trump at his word publicly while he's in the middle of a huge negotiation with another powerhouse in China. Why on earth would you publicly go out and say exactly what you're going to do, exactly what the plan is, in order to get leverage? That makes zero sense, but that's what they try to criticize. Because you see, Trump was like nice and nice. He wasn't like hard-nosed, like he actually is being behind the scenes, as we're seeing with the actions he's taking. And that's so obvious, but yet the media tries to get you to stop thinking and not see what you obviously see from Trump and other people, but find these weird justifications as to why he's saying what he's saying.
No, this is why
Goldman is saying what it's actually said. Number one, you still have the auto tariffs. Number two, you still have the steel and aluminium tariffs. Number three, you have the Chinese tariffs at 125%, the largest bilateral trade relationship. And number four, you have a new global US tariff of 10%, which is 3 times the previous average of 2.5%. So yes, the worst in terms of Japan, South Korea, the EU has been staved off. But there is so much tariff in the system at the moment that's just going to wash over the global trading system. We are so far from being out of this.
No duh. It's been like 1 day. And you see, they can't frame it in a positive way. That, wow, we just took a stance against China, which hasn't gone on in 40-something years. But no, oh, well, we're still not out of it. We're still not out of the economic doom. Everything is gradual growth. Everything is gradual growth. And to think that everything's going to turn around in 1 day fully, they just frame it too negatively. And of course, they're going to bring on fake Republican lady in 2 seconds.
Joining us now, someone who knows the inner workings of the Trump White House well, former White House Communications Director, Alyssa Farah-Griffin. Alyssa, how did you take that? Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here. When President Trump, in his own words, made it very clear that this didn't seem to be part of any strategy. He just saw that people were getting queasy.
You really believe that? You really believe that?
Right. I mean, listen, this was clearly, and Donald Trump said as much on the South Lawn, that he was looking at the bond markets collapsing, and that was what forced his hand into this reversal. And this from an outsider's perspective, but who was once an insider there, I get the sense that a lot of the major decisions these past few days have been made in a very small circle, and a lot of the communication staff and the staff who are going on television talking about what's going on are often kind of behind the curve in the president's decision making, because we were repeatedly told this is not a negotiation. Then Donald Trump says it is a negotiation. And beyond that, I do believe the White House is hearing from foreign leaders, but more importantly, they're hearing from business leaders who, a lot of them bet big on Donald Trump. They thought on television talking about what's going on are often kind of behind the curve in the president's decision making, because we were repeatedly told this is not a negotiation. Then Donald Trump says it is a negotiation.
You're telling me people within the communication team, people that get the okay from the White House to go on TV, they don't know what to say because they're left out of the loop? No. They're told what they should say, what the messaging should be, even if behind the scenes there's something else really going on. Bro, this lady had to have sold her soul so bad to have worked in the Trump White House before, and now go on CNN and try to get people convinced to believe, like people in the White House don't know how to think, that there's not this whole orchestrated plan going on. Are you kidding me? It's just obvious. We're going to share what we're going to share publicly in the media, but behind the scenes we're doing something a little different to actually make an impact. Because we're not going to show all our hands in the media to China. No wonder she's not a communication director anymore.
And beyond that, I do believe the White House is hearing from foreign leaders, but more importantly, they're hearing from business leaders who, a lot of them bet big on Donald Trump. They thought he was going to be good for the economy. They were expecting Trump term 1 all over again. And then they saw the markets in shambles. So I think his hand was forced here. And thank God you're hearing a big sigh of relief from Capitol Hill and from our allies around the world right now.
You say during your time at the White House, trade advisor Peter Navarro, who Elon Musk has been insulting over and over this week, that Navarro sometimes presented ideas that were half-baked, but there's still a lot of loyalty between Trump and Navarro. Today, Republican Senator Rand Paul, who doesn't believe in tariffs, he called Navarro a walking economic fallacy, which is, I should note, at least nicer than Elon Musk saying he's dumber than a stack of bricks. Do you think Navarro's days are numbered at all in the White House, or Trump doesn't care about any of that?
Now that we got done listening to the idiots, let's listen to a little bit more from the main man himself to hear really what he's sharing with the people, and then analyze why is he saying what he's saying.
And we have many other countries, as you know, many more than 75. And they all want to come, and they want to come here, or they'll go to Commerce, or they'll go to Treasury. We have our great senators here and congressmen. They'll call John, they'll do somebody, they'll go through somebody, but they're all calling, how do we do this? They all want to make a deal. Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate because I told him if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate. So we'll see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out amazing. I think that our country is going to be at the end of a year or shorter, but I think we're going to have something that nobody would have dreamt possible. A man like Roger Penske, I don't want to get him in trouble with China, so I won't, but he would know that you have to, someday you have to cut the bow and you have to do what you have to do, right, Roger? And that's what I did, and I'm very happy to have done it.
Mr. President,
was there anyone
the Prime Minister of Greece just told Breitbart's Matt Boyle that he thinks absolutely the European Union and the United States could work out a trade deal that's win-win and, quote, mutually beneficial to both sides. What do you think about the Prime Minister's comments, and do you think a deal could be struck with the European Union?
First of all, I know him. He's a good man, and I appreciate his comments. Yeah, a deal could be made with every one of them. A deal's going to be made with China. A deal's going to be made with every one of them. And there'll be fair deals. I just want fair. They will be fair deals for everybody. But they weren't fair to the United States. They were sucking us dry, and you can't do that. You know, we have $36 trillion of debt for a reason. We don't have it there for fun. They have it for a reason. And people took advantage of our country, and they ripped us off for decades. I've been thinking about this for decades. If you ever saw me on television, I was young like these guys. And it was the good old days, I'll tell you, Roger. But I was like these guys, young, and I was talking about it. Nothing changed, and nothing was done about it. Then I did it. In my first term, I did it, and did it well. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China and others. And I started the process, but then we had to fix up from the COVID mess caused by China. We had to fix up from that, and we did a good job of doing it. And when we handed back the reins after a rigged election, and when we handed back the reins, the stock market was higher than it was before COVID coming in. So, you know, we did a great job, but we didn't have time to do the big thing, which we're doing now. And it's, it's like a patient is sick. You have to do surgery. Patient is very, very sick.
You see how certain he is with saying we're going to get a deal done with China? See, he's willing to publicly say that. He's not willing to publicly before say, oh, we're going to do the tariff, then we're going to raise it, then we're going to do a tariff pause. No, that's like behind the scenes moves. He shows the strong hand publicly, and then he strikes down the strong hand behind the scenes. But he did do what he said he was going to do. If you don't retaliate, you'll be fine. And everyone's like, no, how can you do that? What does that mean? Well, he was a man of his word, because now he dropped all the tariffs from the other countries, and now it's just a universal 10% tariff, except with China, because China wanted to play games, and they want to try to compete with us, even though we have really a surplus with them, where we have the advantage. But you see how confident he's speaking about that? Saying, oh, we're going to get a deal done with China. We know. They're nice people. They're just very, I don't know what he said, something about like overly super confident or... But he said they know how to get it. They want to get a deal done. They just don't quite know how to yet. Versus in the media and just going and villainizing them. That doesn't do anything good. Just like he was talking about with Russia and Ukraine. Why would he go publicly and just start bashing against Russia when he's trying to get a deal done with Russia? It's the same thing. And it's really smart. It's cool to learn for all of us too when we have issues at work, issues with people that we know. You don't just go start talking shit in different places and then try to work things out. It doesn't work like that. So, but yet the CNN people will frame it as they don't know how to think. That's just what's mind-blowing to me. Or they do know how to think and they don't want to share what's really going on. But I hope you guys enjoyed hearing at least just how Trump is navigating this thing compared to what is being taught or shared about how he's navigating it. It's SeanDaniel here. I'll see you guys in the next one.